How do you, as a psychotherapist, go ahead.
Before you jump into this, I'm sorry. I don't
No, please.
That's why you're here.
I mean, we share similar interests in training, so by all means, we need to hear from a man's perspective.
Okay, so I'm going to throw that perspective
Go
out
throw
there.
it out
Yeah,
there.
because that'd be good to
I
respond.
want to piggyback off of what Shayla was saying regarding just the strength of communication when it comes to a relationship. And, you know, we are newly married and thank
Yes.
to this point, it's been amazing. I think because we have the aspect of communication where neither one of us is dominating a situation, you know, I'm able to take a step back and be able to actively listen, and vice versa, she's able to do the same thing. Even at times when I may not feel like she's correct. She's not always correct.
I'm always correct. I don't know what you're talking about.
But another thing, when you were saying, you know, you was trying to keep this external and demeanor of I'm not going to cry or what have you, it goes both ways also, because you have men who, for some apparent reason, are afraid to be vulnerable in relationships. They're afraid to show that, you know, they're afraid to cry in front of their mate, or they're afraid to say, you know, you hurt my feelings by saying something,
Right.
you know, because it just doesn't look manly. But when you're able to kind of break those walls down and, you know, show that you're human, you know, I think that's also an aspect of a relationship that makes a relationship grow and be stronger.
Absolutely. And there's also there's nothing wrong in looking for help outside of your marriage. Not the sad chicks and things, y'all. That's not what I was getting to. But therapy, counseling, because sometimes, you know, again, we're human and we argue and we fuss and fight. Sometimes when we're at our height, in our height of emotions, neither one of you can hear what each other is saying. It's just a whole bunch of
Fighting fair matters. Fighting fair matters.
Absolutely, it
And
matters.
I just read something that they said, oh no, my pastor, Pastor Kim Brown at the Mount Chesapeake, he's a bishop actually, but he's my pastor because I go to that church. He said, deal with the matter at hand. And sometimes it's hard. And I know you as a therapist, when you would agree with that, I assume you guys would agree with that sometimes when fighting, we're fighting over the dishes, right? We're fighting over the dishes. Somebody ain't washing dishes. You know I just came from work, and last week you didn't take out the trash either. We're not talking about the trash.
Stick on you do. You have
Stick
to
with the dishes.
You talk about the dishes today.
on
Because
topic.
then we could go into within the week before that, you ain't do the laundry. Then the week before that, you ain't pick the kids up on
It
time.
boils down to
And then-
communication.
But you know, but also those things are not necessarily just known.
Yeah.
These are some things you have to learn how to do these things. We don't always have examples of, oh, you know, let me say my part and you say your part, and when we come back together, those are learned behaviors that you do. That's what I'm talking about therapists. Like for my husband, for me and Ron, you know, our situation, we went to therapy before we got married. We were like 24, 25 years old, and our therapist was like, what are you like? She was so shocked we were there. But her just being the mediator between the two of us was mind blowing, because literally she would, you know, say, how do you feel, and well, what did you hear, well, I heard it, she's like, that's not what he said. That's not what he said. It's just like, oh. And then after we got through that part, I mean, it really was a night and day situation, and this is one of the reasons why I praise therapists so much, because you have to go, number one, into therapy knowing it may work and it may not work. You have to know that up front. You might find out some things that, look, you just may not work together. But just going in there, having that experience, having a mediator, really sitting back and thinking and listening, just opened up a whole brand new world for us. And honestly, that therapist is and us too. But 20 years to, you know, now, that's why we're still together.
Thank you.
It's Alicia. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Salon Talk DMV, and also subscribe to our YouTube page, Salon Talk DMV, so you can see all the full episodes and the shenanigans.
Now, that's why we're still together.
Thank you. But I would say that makes a lot of difference. In January, I went to couples counseling with my then boyfriend. I was going as a therapist to participate in a 3-day training that gave me continuing education credits. It was an amazing experience. It was an amazing experience while we were there. Extremely transformative. We're talking about a woman who has been doing this for an extended period of time, as well as has a 54-year marriage. So she used her marriage and anecdotes from her and her husband to try to help couples understand it. And a large majority of the people who were there were in the field. But I'm single now. And so that goes to say, like, you have to understand that therapy ends up being generally for you. We went, and we definitely participated in that. But therapy alone is not enough. If you aren't willing to, once you begin to learn, we did a crash course. A 3-day weekend essentially amounts to almost 20 weeks of couples counseling sandwiched into 3 days, which I think is a great model because it gives you all of it up front instead of like trickling it out over a long period of time. And you immediately have a playbook with which to implement. The question is whether or not you're mature enough to implement it and consistently implement it when you get home. Because it's not enough to have just shown up. What you're learning are a new way of relating to a person and a new way of addressing the emotions that personally come up in either one of you all as the separate units in this partnership. So, hopefully you've come up with an agreement on how to speak about things, a little bit of like rules of engagement for how to fight fair, and you both have a level of awareness to say, right now, we're talking about you leaving socks on the floor. Now, my method believes that, that's really an issue, and beneath that is a deep sense of longing underneath your problem, which is why everything pops up when you talk about dishes or socks. But trying to stay there. If you're willing to stay with the socks and you can really get to the core of the issue, you can heal all the other things that are related to the feeling of not belonging in a couple. But simply going and acquiring the knowledge is not enough. You also have to be willing to set the time up at home, work through the process. If it doesn't work, take a break and try it again. So, I'm definitely a proponent of it, but we're so infantile in our understanding of therapy and its usefulness in our community. We need to learn how to go and then figure out a plan for how to use it when we get home.
Do work.
So
When I think of you, my heart remembers.
So I do have a question. If we could give a synopsis of you, and I want to go to both of you guys because you are mental health workers in your field. So for people, and we're not ostracizing. Is that the right word? Because I'm good for using the word right. We are not casting out any particular race or demographic of people, but we're saying Melissa as a psychotherapist and a mental health worker for Black women, if you could in 10 words or less give advice for someone who is trying to navigate a relationship, a Black woman a woman of color who's trying to navigate a relationship, what would your advice be first and foremost?
Know yourself. If mama ain't happy, nobody ain't happy. You need individual therapy or individual reflection to know yourself in order to be able to step into a couple space and understand what your boundaries, what your deal breakers or other things are. Otherwise, you're kind of an amorphous kind of, I take on whatever shape the relationship is in, and that doesn't really work because that's really just, I want someone to love me. You need to know who you are, what you're about, and that takes reflection. You don't get that simply from just aging. It really does require looking at yourself and asking some reflective questions. And once you get to that point, recognizing that if somebody don't want it, somebody else will. So don't shift your tactics because this one that you liked didn't want it. Because I promise you, niggas is like buses. One leave, another one come.
Exactly. So if anyone is wanting to get any more information from you, especially in your specific genre of expertise or your many genres of expertise, because we call her Encyclopedia. She knows everything about everything. Okay? She's my personal therapist. Although she can't legally counsel me, she's my personal therapist. And my business partner. So if people want to find you and get more information on what it is that you offer as part of your many businesses, because she is an entrepreneur and an amazing woman, how can they find you?
You can find me at 8thhousewisdom.com. I do life coaching, astrology, I do oracle readings, and I'm also a desire map facilitator.
Okay, and Shayla, what about yourself? She is a makeup and skin aficionado. Okay, she's amazing.
Master esthetician, and I'm getting better with social media now because of these awesome ladies here. But I'm Shayla, that's SHAYLA_MUA.
And my beautiful husband.
Yes, we love him.
He's my amazing husband. He's also the drive of many efforts to do with disenfranchised people, youth, men of color, counseling, life coaching, and different things like that. And also my business partner and co-founder of One Oak Lane Birth and Family Services. How can people find you if they're looking for you?
It's simple. You can find me at mjohnson_RBT. That's Instagram.
Or in my house, you know.
I'm sorry, you all. My vision board reality. Remember the last time you saw us? She was putting it on the vision board, and now look.
Yes, she is my
It
life
works.
coach, and she told me to look for heart-centered qualities. She actually said, "Don't look for them." She said, "Focus on them and project them and affirm them." And I am a control freak, so I have a hard time kind of affirming certain things. I want to control the narrative, but I projected that specific narrative, and I focused on the things that I wanted and the way I wanted to feel. And I put that on my vision board,
And she's mad now.
in less than, what is it, 6 months?
Yes, ma'am. Hey everybody, it's Melissa from 8th House Wisdom. Make sure that you follow us on Facebook and IG at Salon Talk DMV and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Salon Talk DMV.